corporate entities, diversification, and much more. And each one of those areas is a whole sophisticated body of knowledge and information that requires a certain expertise. I heard a young man on YouTube talk about asset protection, and followed next out of his mouth was that LLCs, commonly known as limited liability corporations, were not as safe as you would think. He did not explain this comment, but there is a difference between thinking and knowing. This just tells the learned ear that this person doesn't understand how these entities should be operated. You see, when you can Google incorporation and are able to go to a website and fill out the forms to start a complicated and sophisticated business entity because of what you heard, this is when you can make a statement such as this without more, because we are surface people. We found a hustle. He found a hustle. And he also admits he was not qualified or not licensed to give such advice. But he does it anyway. The blind still follows. His YouTube is approaching 1 million views. A good hype man. On the other hand, my videos are barely being viewed. He's showing them how to make $20 in a year. Why? I'm showing you how to make thousands with the same investment, and your money is not at risk. It's just mind-boggling. The only difference I'm requiring you to do something first that will benefit you in the long run. How they get you is that you perceive getting something for nothing, and you don't have to do anything but be separated from your money. You have the right knowledge and cash flow instead of just separating you from your hard-earned money with no knowledge, feeling taken once again, driving us further and further apart. I recall being invited to a business meeting by a group that was meeting on the phone. There was a business leader when I came up with a solution to one of his members' problems, who was a young hustler with good intentions, but without a foundation. The business leader responded to me by saying, "You are trying to teach him the law, and we don't need to know about the law." I was like, whoa. My actual response had nothing to do with the law, but I guess this was his crab in a barrel response. As a result, the young man was not able to understand the error of his approach. This is my point. We have leaders that should not be leaders because they are not competent for the task. It's the 21st century. You got to come with it. Everything has to do with the law. How can we have over 2.3 million people locked behind bars and millions more with criminal records and no businesses on the stock exchange? This is because we can't even understand that what is coming out of our mouths are generational curses of ignorance, which is a lack of knowledge, being passed on from generation to generation. Let me say this before I leave you to check out my websites and enroll, because there is no time to waste. Time is currency. Education is a lifelong process which takes a commitment to excellence. My goal through this program is to put the hustlers and fakers out of business. They too will be able to get a proper education and improve their skills. So when they give you their business card, they can actually do what it says. It's time to raise the bar, not by violent revolution, because we are outgunned, not by marching on the streets alone, putting your lives at risk. Since you don't know, let me tell you there's a better approach to destroying institutional oppression by stopping our loved ones from running blindly into the nets of the slave catcher. Our dear brother Malcolm said, and I quote, "The revolution will not be televised because it will take place in the mind." There is a great divide within our communities between the have and the have-nots, and a few have-mores at the bougie ghetto mindset level. Let me show you how to bridge this gap and make all those who participate in the process dreams come true. I do call myself a dream merchant. There's a barrier to personal and group progress called cognitive dissonance. What is cognitive dissonance? It is the inability to absorb new information because of prior miseducation and indoctrination. We must understand that as individuals and as a community, we are going through growing pains right now, being only 156 years out of slavery, the Emancipation Proclamation. Understand that the goal is to keep your minds dark. This strategy, used as a companion to the Willie Lynch letter, continues to keep us in mental bondage. If you need funding for your projects, if you need grants for your nonprofits and or seed money for your startups, I understand and I got you. But first, you have to possess the knowledge and the skills where you can be successful in the end by creating a legacy to pass on. Having trained your children to receive and build upon your family's legacy that doesn't die when you do. How do you get started, you ask? First, you must slow down a whole lot. Some of you just too busy. And let me tell you, this is the fastest and most enduring path, because if you do not, being overly busy, overly occupied, got 3 jobs, you will end up spending your whole life struggling, spending decades and ending up in the same place, old and worn out. So take a few months to learn a different approach. You will feel so much better. Don't be like the middle school students who says that he's not going to be me, mister. I'm not going to be living under a bridge begging for money. Young man, if you don't take your education seriously right now, you will be living under a bridge. No, mister, not me. Sure enough, years later, dirty, grimy, and begging for change, there he was living on the streets. I didn't have it in my heart to approach him and say, I told you so. Just look at history. At the end of slavery, because we were not all enslaved, we had more black wealth then than we do now, and it is steadily going in the wrong direction. Even though we see images of black wealth on television, which is not our reality, another version of fakery directed to us, the illusion of inclusion, fake content on our screens, disinformation and manipulation which we perceive as real, deep fake attacks on our community. The technology has outpaced our ability to think critically. Knowledge is a lifelong process because it is seasoning and tilling of the mind. Just like when you get ready to barbecue, you want to season that meat and marinate it and let it simmer for a minute to get the full flavor. I have given you 45 years of powerful information, compressed into less than 2 years of education, even though the ministry continues to go on after that. This is a reparations program on steroids, because not only can you become very wealthy, but you will have the knowledge to keep the wealth and not get it on Friday, and by Monday it's all gone. You will be taught to invest in yourself and each other, and this way you can move to the front of the line with assets that put money in your pockets. By now, if you don't understand what I am saying, this only means you have an inflamed mental condition of the brain called cognitive dissonance, a deadly form of brain damage resulting from being willingly ignorant. This is different, but similar to the Stockholm Syndrome and post-traumatic slave disorder, because if you can overcome your cognitive dissonance, these other 2 brain disorders will heal themselves over time. Listen, there's a lot of reading and studying, and if you didn't do this when you were young, it would start off being difficult for you. But don't give up on yourself. Spend at least 3 to 4 hours a week on your studies, which represents 10% of your time, talents, and treasures that you spend making other people wealthy. A regular weekly college course it is. Most blacks are familiar with the concept of tithing. This time, tithe into your own building fund, which is you. Then you can be a blessing to yourself, family, and any organization you belong. How can you benefit others when you are broken? Can you see the difference with this ministry compared to others? Beware of cognitive dissonance. Understand this. If you cannot bribe God and buy your way into heaven. Only through your keeping God's commandments and creating a legacy for yourself and your children can you see God. You will learn this when you take the orientation, which is free. Before I teach you about wealth, you must understand what is required of you and your purpose. Then you'll have a vision and things will become much easier. So in addition to the orientation, which is free, like I mentioned, I have created a financial literacy course, which is a companion course, which briefly covers the journey you and your family are being prepared to take. It should be fun. Although this would take time and commitment, it is a lot shorter and a lot cheaper than you are accustomed. But it is 1,000 times more powerful. I will quickly give you a complete overview of the creation, accumulation, and preservation of wealth. I know you will become excited and make this a fun and fulfilling journey. Since we live in a community of talking about what we're going to do and not doing much to achieve it, we need to train a new generation because the world is rapidly changing. And we don't have players in the game. This is how we catch up. Before you begin your journey, like and share, and pass this on to at least 10 people or more. And when you get together in your meetings and stuff, have at least 3 to 5 people to start off with. I know you can find 3 to 5 people that you can get along with, that you want to help you guys work each other to achieve excellence. I will only respond to comments of those who enroll in the actual program, because I only want motivated students at first who want to learn and hear what I have to say. And there is only so much time in the day. This is why the program, if you stick with it, is designed to answer those questions. This is the ground floor. And once you complete the course, then we can really make things happen. Now you have knowledge and cash flow. Once you complete their orientation and enroll in the financial literacy program, you will then be made an offer to enroll in my Each One, Teach One, Earn While You Learn program, which is a program called MEES, Main Street Emergency Economic Stimulus Program, MEESP. This is my affiliate program. This is where your earning potential will become unlimited with no financial risk. Let me say this. First of all, this program is a win-win. Even if you decide to walk away after graduation, you will have a masterful education, able to make a difference in your life and those around you. But for those who stick around and become affiliates because you see the need to bless others with this knowledge, this is where the unlimited earning potential comes into play by recycling billions of dollars to our homes and communities by making sure each child and each generation is educated and trained to compete in society. All taking place in the home where it should be. Schools should be used to make sure your child is being properly socialized and able to get along with others. In the weekly legacy program, you will make sure your child is on task by being able to read and write properly at their grade level and stay on task. A university in your home. My final comment is that this program is a program of renewal. And I do not want to leave anyone behind, but I understand if you are not ready. This is what the ministry is all about, because everyone is at a different stage of life and stage of development. But don't you dare say you don't need this or that and try to cherry pick the information. Big mistake. This is a symptom of cognitive dissonance. The information is practically free. So why not take the time to go through the material? When you call my office after graduation, I want us to be on the same page and know the same thing. This will lead us to an economic boom in every household across this nation, because we will become loving businessmen and women, able to see the glory of God in the face of one another. After the protests, it's time to stop being angry and start taking an active role in our own liberation and transformation. Like many championship teams, we must be on the same page. May God bless you as you are willing to bless yourself. Be more. My website is https://powerthroughnunity.org. Power Through Unity, one word, spell it out. POWERTHROUGHUNITY.org. PowerThroughUnity.org. Be more.